right outside the door, and then to the left. There they are. You're supposed to have them. Oh, I got the next time. For her. And I also got the book.
a joy to have you all with us this morning. Now, Shabbat would always be a good reason to celebrate and to rejoice, but we have a bonus celebration today. We also get to celebrate this wonderful moment in Jack's life and in the life of his family as he marks becoming a Bar Mitzvah, a son of the commandments, or as we like to say, a Jewish adult. And throughout our service this morning, Jack is going to be taking part in a number of rites and rituals for which he is now eligible based on his status as a Bar Mitzvah. Notice, by the way, he isn't Bar Mitzvahed. It's not a verb. Rather, it's something he's becoming today. He's taking on a new status. We're going to be praying together from this Siddur, this prayer book, which hopefully you had a chance to receive from our wonderful Olim students. And if not, we can make sure to grab you a copy. We'll be joining together in prayer and in song, and I do hope you'll join us throughout. We even like to clap every now and then, and you can, clap along with the music with us. But we're going to join together first in a song without words, which allows us to perhaps offer up our own prayers along with the melody. And Jack has elected to start wearing one this morning, and I am honored to invite up to present him with his talit, his grandparents, Ken and Martha Gammerman. You guys. Okay. Bless Adonai, O my soul. Adonai, my God, how great you are. You are robed in glory and majesty, wrapping yourself in light as in a garment, spreading forth the heavens like a curtain. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hakikatev b'tzitzit. Amen. We continue on page 192.
Oh universe, who formed the human body with skill, creating the body's many pathways and openings. It is well known before your throne of glory that if one of them be wrongly opened or closed, it will be impossible to endure and stand before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, who heals all flesh, working wondrously.
Baruch atah Adonai, rofei kol basar u'machli ba'asot. Page 197. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has made me free.
obtaining the promises that share to the shine of the Mitzvah of God, which is not in God, so could you pray, Lord. Blessed are you, Adonai, God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to engage in words of Torah. We continue on page 206. These are things that are witnessed, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world while the principle remains in the world of God. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study, boarding and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among the people, the study of Torah, and the counsels of law. We continue on page 218.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah,
Page 224, please rise. Author of language and light, help us to use words as you have, to cast light into dark waters, and draw out justice and truth.
Baruch atah Adonai, Yoser HaMeorot. We're on page 230. And by the way, if you have one of the slimmer books, I'm announcing the page numbers that are in the brackets, the blue numbers in the brackets. Page 230.
How deeply you have loved us, Adonai, God, gracing us with surpassing compassion. On account of our prayers, whose trust led you to teach them the laws of life. Be gracious to us, teaching us as well. O merciful one, have mercy on us, by making us able to understand and discern, to heed, learn, and teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, and fulfill all that is in the Torah.
כי אל פועל ישועתה, ובנו בחרת, וקרבתנו בשמך גדול סלע באמת, להודות לך ולייחדך באהבה, ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוחר לנו ישראל באהבה.
Stir the soul's passion, guide our sacred way, true and enduring is Torah. Your truth for us is certain and established, now and forevermore. Like Moses, Miriam, and all Israel, we sing out the joys. Sorry. Please rise.
Friends, we are now going to turn to Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the part of our service surrounding the reading of the Torah. And this is a very exciting part of our service. There will be a number of friends and family members participating throughout. You can find the beginning of this section of our service on page 362. And to help us at this point, to help us open the ark, I'm honored to invite up Gloria Conley and Joe Stewart. And then to help us undress the Torah, I'd like to invite up Barbara Tillis, who will help us following the Hakafah, following the parade with the Torah. And then, just so you know, there will be a number of people participating in our Shalshelet and Kabbalah, our chain of just hang on 1 second. It's okay, you guys are awesome, and I love your enthusiasm. Why don't we just get going? Please rise. Okay, you guys are awesome. Now we have a special moment called the Chain of Tradition, Shalshelet Kabbalah, in which we're going to symbolically pass the Torah through the generations to Jack, culminating in this wonderful day of Bar Mitzvah, his becoming a Bar Mitzvah. And so I'd like to now invite up to the Bima Ken and Martha Gammerman, and Amy and Kevin Conley, as well as Max and Sarah Conley. Now we're going to pass the Torah from generation to generation, symbolizing the way that Jewish tradition has been passed on to Jack. And by the way, our wonderful Olimers are passing out Humashim. They're the copy of the Torah that you're going to follow along from this morning. So if you'd like a copy, flag them down. They'd be happy to give you one. So in order to fully appreciate what reading from the Torah involves, we're going to start with a pop quiz this morning. All right? So, ladies and gentlemen, here is question number 1. In what language is the Torah written?
Hebrew.
In Hebrew, yes, 10 points. Excellent. Social studies, yeah? How relevant and timely. So, yes, the Torah is written in Hebrew. Now, every now and then somebody will guess Aramaic or Yiddish, and these are, yes, languages that are part of the Jewish community. Aramaic was the spoken language throughout much of the biblical times, and there are some of our holy texts that are written in Aramaic. The Torah, though, is exclusively in Hebrew, and Yiddish, of course, is a spoken language for a lot of the Eastern European Jewish community. Okay, next question. In which direction do we read Hebrew? Yes.
Right to left.
Right to left, 10 points, excellent. Right to left. So let's think about this for a second. Our students, over the years in which they are learning here in Kivun, they are learning an entirely new language with totally different symbols. They are also learning to read in a different direction from the English that they're reading and studying in the rest of their daily lives. So it's a big, big accomplishment. And as if that's not hard enough, the Hebrew in the Torah is only consonants. Only consonants. There are no vowels, no punctuation, no little cues on how to chant or sing the text. Only consonants. So to give you a hint of what that's like, take a second, picture your first name, and remove the vowels from it. How would anyone know how to precisely pronounce your name? Gloria, we're not left with a lot of letters in your name. If we don't have vowels. Your name is just Gloria. Unless you're so familiar with Gloria that you know when you see that particular GLR, that you know it's referring to Gloria, and therefore you know how to pronounce it. That's how familiar with the text Jack has had to become in preparation for this morning's service. Now, this Shabbat morning, we are in a Torah portion called Parashat Bo. Parashat Bo. And this portion, towards the beginning of the book of Exodus, talks about the last 3 plagues out of the 10 that were inflicted upon Egypt. And we're leading up to the most terrible of the plagues, which is the 10th plague, the killing of the firstborn in every Egyptian family and amongst all their livestock. And then we also come to the moment of freedom, and we'll be hearing more about that in next week's portion. But we're at really the climax of the Exodus story. And Jack is going to be teaching us about that a little bit later. Now, if you did grab a chumash, if you grabbed one of our Etz Chaim Torah books, we are going to be $385 for Parashat Bo. $385. And it's considered an honor to be invited up to bless each reading of Torah. And so a bunch of Jack's family members will be participating. Yes. And for our first aliyah, it is a pleasure to invite up Jack's sister, Sarah Conley.
Vaytem lo tesu, Yishmi Pesach Beto, Adroker. Ve'avar Adonai Yod et Mitzrayim, Bera'ah et Hadam, Al-Mashkov, Val Shutei Hamzuzot, Ufasah, Adonai Al-Hapetach, Velo Yutein Hamashkov, Lavo, Al-Batehem Lido.
So we're at verse 21. Moses then summoned all the elders of Israel and said to them, "Go, pick out lambs for your families and slaughter the Passover offering. Take a bunch of hyssop, dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and apply some of the blood that is in the basin to the lintel and to the two doorposts." So what's happening is we're approaching the 10th plague. This decree has gone out from God that because Pharaoh still has refused to let the Israelites go to freedom and to worship God as they choose, this 10th plague is going to be so horrific, the killing of the firstborn. So there's going to be a procedure for the Israelites to mark their homes so that they aren't included in this terrible decree. "So none of you shall go outside the door of his house until morning. For when the Eternal goes through to smite the Egyptians, God will see the blood on the lintel and the two doorposts, and the Eternal will pass over the door, and not let the destroyer enter and smite your home." And now for our second Aliyah, I'm honored to invite up Jack's brother, Max Conley. You shall observe this as an institution for all time, for you and for your descendants. And when you enter the land that the Eternal will give you, as God has promised, you shall observe this rite. And when your children ask you, "What do you mean by this rite?" we'll find out the answer in our next Aliyah. Amen. Sarah, I owe you a hug too. All right. And now for our third Aliyah, it is a pleasure to invite up Jack's grandparents, Ken and Martha Gammerman.
בני ישראל במצרים ונפו את מצרים ואת בתינו הציל ויתוד העם וישתחוו וילכו ויעשו בני ישראל כאשר צאו אדוני את משה ואהרון כן עשו ויהי בחצי הלילה ואדוני ייקח כל בכור בארץ מצרים מכור פרעה היושב על כיסאו עד בכור השביעי אשר בבית הבור בכור בהמה.
So our last Aliyah ended with a cliffhanger. We had this idea, when your children ask you, what do you mean by this rite? And that should sound familiar to a lot of us because that's part of the key concepts in the Passover Seder is that children are supposed to ask questions. We have the 4 questions. We also have the concept of the 4 children who have different responses to the learning of the tradition. And so here's where it all starts, here in this Torah text. So when the children ask that, you shall say, it is the Passover sacrifice to the Eternal, because God passed over the houses of the Israelites in Egypt when God smote the Egyptians, but saved our houses. The people then bowed low in homage, and the Israelites went and did so, just as the Eternal had commanded Moses and Aaron, so they did. In the middle of the night, the Eternal struck down all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sat on the throne, to the firstborn of the captive who was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of the cattle. And this is heartbreaking, and this is something that we don't study with a sense of victory or glee, but instead with a great deal of sadness that people experience loss just so we could be free. And you'll recall in the Passover Seder that there's the ritual of pouring out some of your wine as you recite the 10 plagues. And this is meant to symbolize taking away from the sweetness of our celebration in memory of all that the Egyptians had to go through.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan banu Torah temet Yechaye olam natan b'chilkenu Baruch atah Adonai notei haTorah.
Amen.
Yes.
All right. And now for our 4th Aliyah, it is a pleasure to invite up Jack's Kfelling parents here in the front row, Amy and Kevin Conley.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai notei haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. By Paro Lila who the whole Mitzrayim, but he Kagedola Mitzrayim ki Vayit Asher En Sham Mavat Meit Vayikra Lemoshe Ulaharon Lila Vayomer Se'u mitoch amigam atem gam b'nei Yisrael u'hu yivdo et Adonai ki barham gam zonham gam b'roham kehi ka'asher dibartam b'lehu u'rachtam gam oti.
And Pharaoh arose in the night with all his courtiers and all the Egyptians, because there was a loud cry in Egypt, for there was no house where there was not someone dead. He summoned Moses and Aaron in the night and said, Up, depart from among my people, you and the Israelites with you. Go worship the Eternal as you said. Take also your flocks and your herds as you said, and be gone. And may you bring a blessing upon me also.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, notei haTorah.
Amen. So now we've reached our 5th Aliyah. And this is a very special moment in our service. In Jewish tradition, when you turn 13, you become a Bar Mitzvah. No matter what. You wake up on your 13th birthday and you are a Bar or a Bat Mitzvah. And so it's not something that you necessarily need to mark in any way. So you might say, Rabbi, why are you doing all of this then? Why have the big service? Why have the big party? If it just happens to you when you wake up on your 13th birthday. Well, of course, it's because as human beings, rites of passage are significant and meaningful to us. And we do find so much meaning, and we're so moved by these new chapters in someone's life. So the rabbis have long ago debated. They said, okay, what's the minimum, what's the very least you need to do to mark this new status as a Jewish adult? And the rabbis decided on this moment, what Jack's about to do, the blessing of the Torah himself. And so in a sense, we have reached the big Bar Mitzvah moment. And so it is now a pleasure to call Jack Conley to the Torah for the very first time as a Bar Mitzvah.
Ya'amod, 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 Bar Mitzvah Don Ben Sasha HaChamishit. Baruch Adonai HaMorah.
Baruch Adonai HaMorah Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMorah Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar banu mikol ha'amin, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai notei haTorah.
Amen.
But the Hezek Mitzrayim al ha'am l'maher lishloham sorry. I lost my place, no. Ha'eretz ki amru kulanu b'moitim v'yisa ha'am et b'tzeku terem yitmas misharotam zerot b'simotam al shifmam. Ubnei Israel asu kivar Moshe v'yisalu miMitzrayim kilei hesef u'plei zahav yushimlu v'Adonai natan et hein ha'am b'einei Mitzrayim v'yisalu v'natzilu et Mitzrayim.
The Egyptians urged the people on, impatient to have them leave the country, for they said, we shall all be dead. So the people took their dough before it was leavened, and that, of course, leads to the tradition of eating matzah, their kneading bowls wrapped in their cloaks upon their shoulders. The Israelites had done Moses' bidding and borrowed from the Egyptians objects of silver and gold and clothing. And the Eternal had disposed the Egyptians favorably toward the people, and they let them have their request. And thus they stripped the Egyptians.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai notei haTorah.
Amen. Now, when somebody does something so well in services, it's not appropriate to applaud, but rather we wish them a Yasher Koach, which means may you continue to be strong. And I think Jack deserves a huge Yasher Koach, so please join me. Yasher Koach! Mazel
I can put the yod on now, but not before.
While the Torah is offer prayers of healing to those in our community, in our families who may be ill. If you have someone who you are praying for this morning, someone who you'd like to experience a refuah shlema, a complete and speedy recovery, I invite you to share their names aloud. וישבח אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב ואימותינו שרה רבקה ולאה ורחל ויברך וירפא את כל החולים האלה. May the one who blessed all of our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Leah, and Rachel, bless and heal all those who are ill, all those who are suffering right now. May their caregivers and their doctors be blessed with wisdom and with great compassion. And we pray that they return to us with that complete healing of mind and of body and of spirit. Baruch atah Adonai Rofeh HaCholim. We praise you, God, who cares for the sick. And let us say together. Amen. Now, interestingly, Jack did chant Torah so beautifully for us today, but really all adult Jews are responsible for reading and studying Torah every week. So we have a ritual called Haggadah, in which the Torah is lifted up and turned around so that the congregation can see the text that was just read, and in a sense, you all get credit for having read it as well. And then we are going to get the Torah dressed once again. And so to come on up for Haggadah and Galila, it's a pleasure to invite up Jim Talbot and Rabbi Rachel Goldenberg. Everyone please rise. Every section that we read each week from the Torah, from the 5 books of Moses, has a corresponding Haftarah portion, a prophetic reading taken from other places in the Bible, usually from the books of prophets, which will expound upon the same theme as the Torah portion. And so the theme, of course, this week was about freedom and about the oppression on the Israelites from the Egyptian people. So interestingly enough, this week's Haftarah portion is taken from the prophet Jeremiah, many hundreds and hundreds of years later, but it's another point in Jewish history where we are at risk of oppression by the Egyptian people. In fact, there's a conflict going on between the Babylonian people and the Egyptians, and the Israelite community is not quite sure with whom we should ally ourselves. So Jeremiah takes the unpopular kind of stance of saying we need to remember what happened so long ago and not let those things happen again. And very early, never again kind of teaching. And so Jack is going to be blessing the reading of the Haftarah, and then sharing with us some of the text, and then blessing after the reading.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar b'milim tovim v'ratzah b'divreihem hanemarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai haboher b'torah u'Moshe abdo Yisrael amo u'yeh ha'emet v'tzedek. The God of heaven's host, the God of Israel, says, Behold, I punish Ammon, god of the town of No, and Pharaoh and Egypt her gods, and her kings, Pharaoh and all who trust in him. I am handing them over to who seek their lives, the Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and his army. But later on it will be inhabited, as in days of old. This is the word of the Eternal One. But you, have no fear, Jacob, my servant. Do not despair, O Israel, for behold, I will save you from that distant place, and your offspring from the land of your captivity. Jacob shall return and be quiet and tranquil, and none shall make you afraid. Have no fear, O Jacob, my servant, for I am with you, says the Eternal One. I will bring to an end all the nations to whose land I have driven you, but I will not make an end of you. Though I do not let you go unpunished, I will chastise you justly. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, sor kol ha'olamim, tzaddik b'kol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer v'yoseh, hamdaber u'mkayem, shekol dibarav emet v'tzedek, al ha'torah, ve'al ha'avodah, ve'al hanviim, ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh. Shenata Talanu Adonai Eloheinu Likdusha V'Linucha L'Chavod U'Tifaret Al HaKol Adonai Eloheinu Anachnu Modim La U'Mvarakim Otach Yifarak Shivha B'Fi Kol Hai Hamid Le'olam Va'ed Baruch atah Adonai Modim Nekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Yasher Koach. We are all breathing a sigh of relief with you. That was terrific. So now please turn to page 376. We have 3 readings on behalf of prayers for our congregation, prayers for our country, and prayers for the state of Israel. And to lead us in these prayers, it's a pleasure to invite up Nancy Gammerman, Neil Stewart, and Ellen Gammerman.
Source of all being, may the children of this community learn these passions from us: love of Torah, devotion in prayer, and support of the needy. May we guide with integrity, and may our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction, and may we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy.
Thus says Adonai, this is what I desire: to unlock the fetters of wickedness and untie the cords of lawlessness, to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke, to share your bread with the hungry, and take the wretched poor into your home. When you see the naked, give clothing, and do not ignore your own kin. If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand, the evil speech, if you offer compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished creature, then your light shall shine from the darkness. O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideas. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit. Amen.
Amen. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. O Heavenly One, protector and redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread it over the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there.
Amen.
There's always room for one.
So we are now going to go back a page to page 374 to return the Torah to the Ark. And to help us open the Ark at this point, it's an honor to invite up the Kleinberg family. Everyone, please rise. Please be seated. So far this morning, Jack has led us in prayer. He's chanted some of our most sacred texts for us, and now he's going to teach us some Torah. He has prepared something we call a Devar Torah, which means a word or a teaching of Torah. And in it, he studied his text, he debated it and struggled and wrestled with it and came away with a message that he found meaningful. He took this ancient text and made it relevant for today.
Shabbat Shalom. Today is a very special day. Today is a very special day for me, but before I can really begin my speech, there are a few people I would like to thank. First off, thank you, Rabbi Bellows, for helping me lead this service and interpret my pastoral homily. I would also like to thank Dr. Linda, for without her vocals, this service, and for that matter, any service, wouldn't be the same. And of course, thank you to Debbie for tutoring me and teaching me how to do everything that I know today, and that I've done today too. And most importantly, I would like to thank my friends and family for supporting me every step of the way. Lastly, on this special day, I would like to thank God for everything God has done for me and for the world. So basically what happened in my Torah passage, Parshat Bo, is the last couple plagues and the Hebrews exiting Egypt. My Torah portion starts with Moses instructing people on how to avoid the plague of the death of the firstborn. God tells people to slaughter a lamb and dip a bunch of hyssop in the blood to mark their doorstops. They do this so the destroyer passes over their home. The next verse that we need to remember how we were saved from the destroyer. Then God kills all the firstborn males from the son of Pharaoh to the captive in the dungeon, and even the cows. Poor cows. Then Pharaoh tells the Hebrews they can leave his land and asks them to bless him. But before they left Egypt, God hypnotizes all the Egyptians to give the Hebrews all their valuables. I think what we should all realize is that God isn't some evil person who loves to watch his own creations die. God stresses that we need to remember the great sacrifice it took to free our people from Egypt. The passage says that all the Hebrews bowed low in homage for all those lives lost. We can also assume some of their own, the forgetful ones, who never marked their doors, were also killed. It shouldn't have had to come to this, but after the 9th plague, when Pharaoh was ready to let the Hebrew people go, God hardened his heart, and the Pharaoh changed his mind. I think God did this so that the Hebrew and Egyptian people alike could understand the power and might of God. When I was looking over my passage, something that really stood out to me was that even the cow would go. As I thought more about this topic, I realized that cows seem to be a recurring theme in my religion and, for that matter, in many others. When you look over many religions like Hinduism, Egyptian mythology, and all religions branching off Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, and I know what you're thinking, like people like cows, and so, well, I'll get to that. I think this commonality shared by the aforementioned beliefs and many others, for that matter, show us how similar we can be while still being different. This is very important in our world because there's so much hate surrounding certain religions, so it's good to know the similarities that bring us together. Last year I went to many different places of worship for many different religions. One of the greatest takeaways I got from that was that these different religions may seem different at first glance, but we all share the values that make us humans. We're fundamentally similar, but what separates us is what makes us so great, and what connects us makes us greater. And that is what cows were, an ancient common market allowing trade amongst all countries of the world, a currency of those times. I believe that the cow of this day and age is money, linking us all yet separating us as well. In the ancient days, we all relied on cows for trade and sustenance. Now we rely on our bank accounts for food and purchases. Everything we do is driven by money, and this is not a bad thing. A white male, a black woman, a Hindu, and a Christian all buy the same orange juice with the same money from the same bank from the same job. Money is what all of us have in common. And despite having different amounts of it, that's great because part of our responsibility of Jews is making sure everyone has enough. And that's what my passage means to me. But not only does my passage mean a lot to me and my family, but so does my Bar Mitzvah in general. Becoming a Bar Mitzvah means I can feel at home anywhere there's a synagogue. It means I'm getting a lifetime membership to Judaism. For the past couple months or so, I've been working at the Meeks Point Nature Center every Sunday from 1 to 4, and I've learned a lot about responsibility, and that responsibility has helped me in preparing for my Bar Mitzvah. At the Meeks Point Nature Center, I get to do a lot of great things like feed and clean the mice, feed the mice and clean what I'm feeding them to, and help out at the touch tank, which is great because I get to teach little kids about all sorts of animals. The Meeks Point Nature Center is an awesome place, and I think you all should go there sometimes. Pretty nice place. I talk about how similar we are and how we should all be together, and I don't want to get too political, but now is the time where this matters so heavily. At this time, there are many people just like you and me who have been stripped of their rights and denied their dreams. Now is the time where we can't just sit down and act like everything is great. Don't get me wrong, this is one of the happiest days of my life, but many cannot afford that luxury. Now is the time where we have to stand up against the unjust and welcome these huddled masses into our country. No matter what religion you are, we all believe that we should treat others the way we want to be treated. I pray everyone in this room takes away the fact that we're all connected and that we need to break barriers to progress as a community. Amen.
Amen. Yasher Koach. Wow. So to help Jeff feel how sweet his message was, you got some candy under your chair. Go ahead. And now, as long as you wait until after the service to have some, anybody under the age of 13 is invited to come up and help us clean up. Thanks, guys. I should invite you to come clean up. You were very thorough. So, and now it's a pleasure to invite Jack's parents, Kevin and Amy, to share a special blessing with him as well. This is your speech.
So how great is it that it isn't snowing? Thank you all so much for being here. Some have been so far. I'm so grateful. So, last summer we had some trouble with our cable television service. After a soul-crushing wait on hold, I was finally connected with a Comcast technician who began talking me through a procedure that involved unplugging certain wires and cables and replugging them in different places. I responded the way I always do in these situations. I handed the phone to Jack. Jack jammed the phone on one ear, went to work, heard loud the and the HDMI, and then he handed me back the phone. More instructions followed, of which I thought I was doing a pretty good job of understanding, until the man finally said, "Put Jack back." Jack is the family fixer. He's the one you call when your computer misbehaves, or when you can't find your glasses or your wallet, when you want to set up a new fish tank, or put wheels on a skateboard, or if you need help with your math or your science homework. And I'm not only referring to his younger sister. But most of all, Jack is the one who knows how to make you laugh. He will boost your spirits when you feel down, and even when you're not. And he always laughs. When Jack was only 10 days old, he got sick, very sick, with bacterial meningitis. At dawn, I called our pediatrician to tell her that our newborn had a fever of 105. And within the hour, we were in a hospital emergency room, listening to a doctor say that she needed to give Jack a spinal tap, and could I please go and stand behind that curtain. It was like falling down a rabbit hole. Jack and I lived in one hospital, then another, for the next 4 weeks. Doctors came and went constantly. There was talk of possible neurological damage, hearing loss. I was scared. But you know what? Jack was fine. I mean, he was sick, but he was still there. I looked at him, he looked back at me, and I knew that everything was going to be okay. Jack was still Jack, which is what I would tell the doctors when they came on their rounds. He's still there. Now, how is it that such a tiny baby could have had such a strong presence, but you did. There was a wonderful nurse in the pediatric ICU named Ebony, and Ebony would visit Jack several times a day, even when he wasn't her patient that particular day. And one time I thanked her, and she said, "Whenever I want to feel better, I come and see Jack." Now, nearly 13 years later, Jack constantly amazes us with his ingenuity and creativity, your inventions, your drawings, your animated films, your Dremel wood carvings, your skill at getting tasty mail-order snacks for free. but his true genius, the genius of Jack, is that he understands how to lift up the people around him. When I sat down to write this speech, I kept thinking about a cross-country meet that happened in Jack's 6th grade year. Now, Jack may not be the fastest runner on the Lionel Line Middle School cross-country team, or even the most enthusiastic, or for that matter, the most uncomplaining, but he always finishes his race. That day, though, Jack crossed the finish line and did something totally baffling. Instead of flopping on the grass and eating a snack, he grabbed a friend and ran back. It turns out he had seen one of his teammates struggling about a mile from the finish line. And when all of the kids finally came back into view, I could hear Jack cheering on his teammate and saying, "You're doing great! You got this!" And now other kids were joining them and running, and they started shouting encouragement too. And the older kids, the top 10 finishers, the ones who were chilling out, looking, checking their tests, they put down their orange slices, and they ran with them as well. And they all crossed the finish line together. So, Jack, today as we mark your passage from childhood to the beginnings of adulthood, I want to dig deep and find some piece of wisdom to give you to set you on your way. But the truth is you already understand one of life's most important truths. When you were born, he gave you the Hebrew name, Doron, which means gift. And you've always been a gift to us. But your kindness is the gift that you share with the world.
And now, Jack, we have more gifts for you to receive, and I'd like to invite up a few very special people from our community, Debbie Troutman, and Kendra Belinda, and Tracy Kleinberg, and Rick Hornick.
Mazel, Jack. You did it. What a wonderful job you have done. Leading the temple in prayer, chanting Torah beautifully, and giving us new insight into its meaning. Your Torah portion is both. It also talks about the last plague, or second to last, of darkness. The darkness was so complete that none of the Egyptians could see one another. But the Israelites had light by which to see. Perhaps light is spiritual. You, Jack, bring light wherever you go. You have brought light to your parents, to me, and to the synagogue. You are politically aware, and perhaps in this time of darkness in our nation, you can bring some light through your dedication and action. Before we say B'ni Chamocha in the Shabbat evening service, we say a prayer about leaving Egypt. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before we ever stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, and there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. We look forward to going forth with you in your Jewish life, where you undoubtedly will follow the mitzvah and shed light on us all. And I also. Thank you. And here is your Bar Mitzvah certificate. And it says, in becoming a Bar Mitzvah, Jack has accepted the privileges and responsibilities of being a Jew. Lifelong Torah study and the keeping of mitzvot, Shabbat, Holy Day, and life cycle observances. Participation in the life of the synagogue and Jewish community in Israel. Dedication to Tikkun Olam, the perfection of our world.
Thank you. So happy to give yeah, it is gorgeous. So I want to say Yasha Koach to Mahmoud and you guys, working as a team together. Clearly did an amazing job this morning. And I don't know, really, I keep thinking about, and I said it before, we go back and how many years now, and every year the pastor is long. We walk down to the ferry, and I usually, the front of the back, and usually as we're going back in the back, and there's Amy, and there's Jack. This is even before Gloria was in the mix. And I'm here, Amy saying, come on, Jack, come on, Jack, come on, Jack.
She still says that.
And it would be Jack because, coming up the rear because he spotted something that he wanted to look at. That was interesting. That was calling him. Or maybe just to get Mom to say, come on, Jack, come on, Jack. We're going to leave the boat. But in your Torah portion, Jack, you talk about God and God's power and having everyone see what that power is about, regardless of who you are, what group you're in. And I think, as I've got to know you when I listen to everybody, you are so in tune and curious and wanting to know more about this power, the power of life. You talked about, and your Mitzvah project, and how everything just pulls you in. But it's not, you have the mind, we might say the mind of the scientist, but it's not just the mind of the scientist, because we have this amazing combination of the mind and the heart together. And that is very special. I can't help but always be struck how Gloria looks up to you. The expression in her eyes and her face. She watches every move you make. All parts of her face, yes. And the heart that you show bridges across to Gloria and comes back out. Everyone has talked about your ability to make connections, to build bridges. We talked about that in the Torah portion. We talked about finding what's common and what's different, but yet what we all share. You have this way of taking apart life and putting it back together again that is so unique, that has been there since you're born. And it is an amazing gift. And I am looking forward to seeing how those gifts continue to grow, hopefully in this building as well with us. We're going to know that. So as part of your membership, lifetime membership to the Jewish community, I am pleased to be able to present you to a membership for a family membership at the JCC in New Haven, as well as a certificate to Israel that I hope you get to share, because that will definitely be another part of your life journey in getting in touch with the power and the universe. So really looking forward to do that as well. And it's been such an honor to work with you and your family. It's been an amazing journey that I look forward to continuing. So wonderful time.
Jack. Jack. I want to call you an uncle. I didn't know it was their own. I am one of the few people in this room. I am one of the few people in this room who can say that I've seen Jack dunk a basketball. I have seen him do a 360. I've seen him do a left-handed dunk and a right-handed dunk. Go, go, go. Right? Remember? And that day that Jack was dunking basketball, it was at a court. It's in our house, in our driveway. And they're this kind of wall of boulders. And the boulders go straight down. They go straight down and they're jagged edges. And Jack, you were the one, of all the boys and girls playing that day, you were the one who scrambled up to the top the first time and just jumped down. And that's who you are. That's who you are. I cannot tell you what kind of glee I will remember this for all of my life, as I will remember standing here and giving you this tree of life. And if you choose, at some point later, you might read the fact that, in your portion, we go free. A few chapters later, we stand on the Red Sea, and we got to decide whether we're going to walk across. Maybe on top of the boulders, maybe jump in. You are so straight from your heart. You are so unafraid, so straightforward, wanting to be free, and understanding that freedom has all kinds of responsibilities. I'll just remember jumping off those boulders. I'm so happy to be here. Read it every once in a while. If you don't, it's okay. It took me a couple of years. I got Bar Mitzvah. I listened to transistor radio. 48 years ago, I read that book, the same portion that you did. And you did a lot better than I did. Okay? And 48 years ago, it was 1969. Some people were in a far-off place fighting. A new president from a similar party was elected a few weeks before. And we were all afraid. We were all afraid. It's because of you. I'm not afraid of you. You'll lead us through. Yashikov.
Thank you.
So today I stand up here as a member of the board. And I have to present to you that I am so very lucky because I have had the pleasure of knowing Jack since he and my daughter were in preschool together. So it's been quite a ride. And I also get to teach Jack on Sunday mornings here in Kibun, and that is also entertaining. I have to say, for all the time that I get to spend with Jack, which has been, up to this point, a fair amount of time, I would say, for somebody who is not actually my child. And I'm not going to make this too long because, Jack, you are not my child, and this is not my Bar Mitzvah, although sometimes it feels like but I have to say, whenever Jack's around, I never know exactly what he's going to say. He is full of surprises, always entertaining, never a moment that is dull, always surprising. Doesn't have to be true facts or well-researched or anything like that. That is unimportant. The important thing is that, as everybody else has already noted, Jack, you lift people's spirits. You make everybody around you feel great and happy. And I have heard it from members of my own family, my older daughter, who loves to have Jack around in the house because Jack's her favorite. So we just want to, and Jack, you did an amazing job today. I know you worked very, very hard. So I'm going to stop there. I could go on and on and on, but I will stop. I'm going to present
Should I open it? Whoa, that's so cool. It's like the date and all that. That's so cool. I'm gonna drink from this.
Okay, you got it? So now, it's my turn. I get to say a few words to you. So, I've known you, Jack, for the least amount of time of all the people who've had a chance to speak here today. I've only had a chance to know you for a few months. But already, in these months, some things have become very, very clear to me. And that's what I want to speak to you about for just a couple of moments. Number one, you have a gute neshama. Do you know what that phrase means?
No.
Gute is Yiddish for good, and neshama is soul. You have a good soul. It's one of the biggest compliments we're able to give in Judaism, to say that somebody has a gute neshama. And you truly have that gute neshama, that good soul that's in you and radiates off of you. And I think that's part of what so many people here are talking about and alluding to today. Not only do you have a gute neshama, but I believe he has an old soul as well. Meaning you have a degree of wisdom and awareness about the world that seems to be beyond your age, but instead seems to tap into something else, some other wisdom about the universe and the world. And I think once you really allow that voice to come forth, you're going to be unstoppable in changing the world and in accomplishing your goals and dreams. Now, one of the other things that's been apparent to me is that you and I have connected over a love of superheroes. And I know you're going to hear plenty more about them later today, I have a feeling. But I think it's no accident that you have a passion for comic books and superheroes and these people who accomplish things way beyond what any normal human being should be able to accomplish. And I wonder if part of your passion is your recognition that you can be one of those people. You very bravely spoke in your Devar Torah about some things you see in our world that might not be totally fair right now, or might not be just or righteous. And by calling us and reminding us about our role in making the world a better place, and in creating equity and equality, and in looking out for each other, you're already being a superhero. You're going beyond what so many people do, and I'm so proud of you and inspired by you. You're welcome. Finally, another thing I've learned about you is you're really funny. There have been times, so Tracy gets to teach the 7th graders on Sunday. I have the pleasure of teaching them on Wednesdays, and there have been some times where I'm trying to get the class together and to calm down and listen to something, and Jack will say something so funny that I can't be serious teacher anymore, and I just have to laugh. Because you're very witty, and as we were saying before the service, very good with language, and always a pleasure to be with and to learn with and from. Jack, I pray that you really do accept and acknowledge the power that you have to change the world, to create something new, to invent something, even to break down barriers and connect people across divisions. And I pray for you that you are always blessed in everything you do. It's a pleasure to know you. I wish you a big awesome. Thank you. You're welcome. Congratulations. So now Cantor Belinda and I have the privilege of blessing Jack in front of the open ark, and it's an honor to invite Rabbi Rachel Bogenberg as well to participate in this blessing, and I'd like to invite everybody to please rise. God's light shine on you and be gracious to you.
You always feel connected to God and others, and that you are surrounded by blessing and
Conley, your son, may this be God's will. Amen. We're going to remain standing and turn back in our Sidurim to page 586. Page 586 in the middle of the page for Elaine. Page 598. We take a moment now to pause and to think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. On behalf of the Conley family, we are thinking especially of Marguerite Conley and John Conley, who we wish could have been here to celebrate with us today, but we know that they're with us in spirit. And on behalf of the CBSRZ community, we mark the recent passing of Marvin Hochberg. Who else is marking a Shiva Shloshim or Yortzeit of a family member or friend who would like to share a name out loud? Zichronam Livracha, may all of their memories always be a precious blessing for those who knew and loved them. Together now we join in the words of Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, ve'alma v'yorach v'yirtei yamlik malchutei, v'chayekon v'yomekon v'chayekon v'yit Yisrael, v'agalau v'zman karim v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah v'yorach v'elam ramei almaya, v'yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yit'alar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei Kedusha b'riklu, le'elam yinkol birkata v'shirata, tushkata v'nechemata, da'amiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba mishemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom v'ramav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say together. Amen. Our closing song is a prayer for peace, knowing that it will come someday. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, page 657. Please join us. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu.
Amen.
But honestly, I can expect to see that.
I'm not exactly complaining. It's a good thing that this is happening.
That is a
Yes.
good, this market.
So anyway,
Go spend time with Miss Palmer. She has to go early, so I can catch up to you.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Great to see you out and about.
for us. So we don't even, I'd rather not rush it. Or
That's true. We have lost a lot in the last couple of years. Yeah.
it's tough. Oh shoot, I have to find Zach first. Just put this in the table. The cards.
Does anybody know how to do the sponge box? There's a sponge box. That's it. That's good. What's up? What move can you do, sir? What move can you do? You're doing the hot ball. What move can you do? That's the burning. That's the burning. We're going to mash a little out of the water, and then Jack wants to play the game that I don't think I've ever played at a Bar Mitzvah before. You'll see, you all know this game, and there'll be a grand prize. There'll be a grand prize of inflatable shoes. We're going to do that in about 3 minutes. Everybody already knows how to play. Everybody's going to learn to do that by the end of the day.